This happened a few days ago. I was texting one of my friends about some annoying conversations I've been having with a coworker. Let's call her Drew. I sent my friend a screenshot of one of Drew's texts and followed it up with a long rant about how she's always sending vague or confusing messages. Well, in my rush to send the screenshot, I somehow sent it back to Drew. Not only did I send the screenshot, but I sent my whole rant about her too. The second I realized what happened, I freaked out. I tried to unsend it, but of course, it was too late. Drew replied almost right away with a simple, "Huh?" And I felt like the ground was gonna swallow me whole. I ended up trying to play it off like I was joking, but I could tell she didn't buy it. Now every time we work together, things are super awkward and I just want to avoid her at all costs.
I'm 22 years old and my niece is 2. She speaks so well and very clearly for her age. She is also very attached to my dad that she called her Paw. She's gotten into the habit of telling my dad, "Help me," when she doesn't want to be picked up by someone else, like her mom or grandma or one of my other siblings, not like a stranger or anything. Well, one day I go to Walmart with my parents. They go to get something and leave me with my niece. My niece was running around playing with everything she could get her hands on, so I decided to pick her up. Apparently she didn't like that because she starts screaming, "Help me! Help me!" People were looking, and of course I tried to tell her to quiet and calm her down with some toys, which made the situation look so weird. Luckily, my parents heard and came running over. But when my niece saw my dad, she started screaming, "Help me, Paw," and fighting for my dad. I have never given a child to someone so quickly. Needless to say, I very quickly established that I did in fact know my parents and my niece, and wasn't some stranger trying to kidnap my niece. I'm a fairly Christmas-happy kind of a guy. When a Panera opened in our town, my wife, wanting to treat me to something new, decided to take me to get a turkey cranberry sandwich, a memorable of Christmas thing for me. We waited in line and I looked at the menu. It looked so good in the picture that I couldn't wait. Finally, it was our turn. I let my wife go first and she ordered a soup with some bread. Then I gave my order turkey cranberry sandwich. Then the strangest thing happened, and this is where things went downhill. The nice young lady who just took my order asked, "Would you like bread with this?" Confused, I responded, "Yes, on both sides, please." I felt even more confused as my wife burst out laughing harder than I've ever seen. The poor girl at the counter stared at me like a deer in headlights. I heard laughter behind her and saw a young man doubled over. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say it took a minute before anyone responded. It wasn't my wife, who couldn't seem to catch her breath. It was a young girl, maybe 10, who finally said, "They mean on the side with your sandwich." So, if you've never been to Panera, I suggest you do on purpose what I did by accident. The faces around you are priceless. My dad purchased a lifetime gym membership when I was about 11 years old, and he would take my older brother and I with him. We would just do our own thing while he did his routine workout. Gave us a fair bit of time to ourselves, and we had fun trying to bench press as much as we could. My brother was always so radical and would do random stuff that usually resulted in trouble. Not just for him, but I was always roped into situations by default. So, on this occasion, we had decided to go and check out the sauna before showering. Usually, there would be someone else in there if we went to use it, so we didn't stay in there very long. I hadn't really taken notice of how the sauna worked, other than it was bloody hot in there until a week or so. Before this incident, some guy had gotten up off the bench he was sitting on and poured water on the hot rocks to increase the steam and heat. Anyway, we went into the sauna towels wrapped around us and sat on the benches. It was just my brother and I in there, and we had not been in the sauna very long before my brother said he needed to piss. I told him to go and use the toilet, but he said something along the lines of "Screw that, we only just got in here," and proceeded over to the hot rocks. I remember telling him, "You can't piss on that." I was worried he would get hurt more than anything. So my brother, being my brother, started pissing on the rocks, and then we were laughing hysterically at the sound it was making as he relieved himself. As funny as it was, as soon as the steam version of his pee hit my nose and caught in my throat, I realized how bad this tasted and smelled. All I could think was, have to get out of here now. And this is so bad. We both had to get out of there, and we did. As soon as we could get a decent breath in, we started laughing again, but both agreed we had to get dressed quickly and get out of the change room before Dad or other people came in. We did that and went, then sat in the furthest corner of the gym from the change rooms waiting for the old man to finish his workout. We watched a couple of men go into the change room, which cracked us up to no end, knowing what they were walking into. Dad finished his workout and went to the change room, but the absolute highlight was watching the manager spraying air freshener and entering the change room to continue his battle with the rancid smell that was now penetrating most of the place. Our final laugh was on the way home in the car, when Dad mentioned how bad it smelled in the change room. As always with my brother, it was a mix of fun, disgust, and shitting myself. We were going to get in trouble.
My husband used to work as a furniture mover. He would take the light rail to work, because our car wasn't in great shape and his company was 45 minutes from home. I would take him to the light rail as it was 5 minutes from our house. One day, in a very freezing winter morning, we get to the light rail lot, and my husband gets out the car. He would always then walk over to my window and kiss me goodbye. At the time, he sat his coffee on the roof of the car and didn't notice that there was a very thin coating of ice. So he is adjusting and putting his backpack on and gloves and such. As he's doing this, he doesn't notice that his cup is slowly sliding off the roof. As I lean out the window to kiss him, it falls right on my head. Now I'm upset and yelling to my husband, who cracking the hell up laughing, which in turn makes me madder. He said that looking at me fuming and then seeing all the steam pouring of me made it look like a cartoon character when they got mad. I live in a rented house with a single mother and her son. I don't mind living with her and her kid. I know that she struggles financially, but I don't think it's an excuse, cause I don't make lots of money either. However, I've noticed that my food would go missing. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it and she just said she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started, but it started getting annoying when it kept happening, again and again. I'd get home from work, expect to have some leftovers in the fridge, only to see it picked through or just gone completely. I kept bringing it up and she started getting annoyed. Then I realized that neither of them ever eat vegetables. Anything with green in my food was avoided. So I started putting vegetables in everything. I mixed some bell peppers into the food. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli all over it and mix it. I made a pot of mac and cheese with roasted Brussels sprouts. This woman had been seeming annoyed, but we were all home when I made it, so she was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And I mixed them in the mac and cheese. She said I was being greedy, annoying, and calls me a jerk. I just said, "I like Brussels sprouts." And that was it. She said, "We need food," and I told her to go get some, or stop buying only prepackaged things, and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge, but I just simply want to be able to eat my food. The sharing is not the issue. It's about me expecting to have food there, and it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home, expecting to have some food and it all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and had my food ready to eat in the morning, only to find it gone. Then I have to skip breakfast. She also never asking a permission to me.
I was on holiday with my son, and we were watching the football in a bar. I don't really drink, but I enjoy a cocktail on holiday. Then the waitress came by and asked if we wanted drinks. I asked for a pina colada, and she sniggered a little at the order, then walked off to make it. This little bit annoyed me. I'm just a grown man wanting to drink a tasty cocktail. What's wrong with that? When she brought the drink, I got my petty revenge. As she was placing the drink on the table, I said, "My mom loved these. God rest her. I always have one on the anniversary of her death to remember her." Then she looked horrified and tried to shuffle off quickly. I asked her for a cocktail stirrer, so she had to come back again. When she came back, I took a sip from the straw, kissed my hand, and pointed to the sky, acting to look sad. She was so visibly uncomfortably. She noticeably avoided our table multiple times after this, and I had to stifle my own laughs.